Chris, how did you find carnivore?
So for me, it was a natural progression from keto. So starting back from when I was a kid, I was born late 80s and grew up in the 90s when everything was quick, fast, and easy. So my parents, we grew up on pizza, ice cream, raviolis, ramen noodles, things like that. So I was always the kind of the biggest kid in my class, but that was typically how everyone in my class was. We grew up in a bigger generation. And I remember when I was in 12th grade, my teacher, she had lost a lot of weight on Weight Watchers. And so I did that and lost a good 80 pounds when I was in high school. I weighed about 320 when I was in 12th grade, and I got down to about 230. And then after that, when the recession hit in 2008, I had just graduated, and I ate my way through McDonald's. It was just everything was just so cheap. Remember, it was like 10-cent hamburgers on Wednesdays, and it was Totino's pizzas were a quarter. So it was easy to eat unhealthy. And I worked at Cracker Barrel while I went to college to be a teacher. And I ate my way through that place too, and I easily got my highest weight to 378 pounds. And I could show a picture of that if you want, because I was pretty big. I'll show you a picture of it real quick. I got really big. This was my heaviest right here. I was a pretty big person.
Wow.
Yep, that was my first year when I started teaching, and I was definitely uncomfortable there. But I'd gone on and off Weight Watchers, starting, stopping, gaining it back, losing it. And there would be weeks where I would do everything right. You went to the gym, you did a 2 mile walk every day, 3 mile walk, you counted your points right. But then something didn't add up. Why'd I gain 2 pounds this week? I did everything right. And I did that for years. And I finally got down to about 330 pounds. And I was like, you know what? I need to do something. So every year we go out before graduation ceremony, teachers are required to go. So we would go out to eat, and I was sitting at Olive Garden. And this was like my aha moment. It was, I ate about 10 breadsticks. When you get into the table, you have to push the table back because you're so big. And you're uncomfortable the whole time. So then a friend of ours came in, and he's like, well, I had lost 40 pounds. And I was like, you know what? I've always said I'm going to lose weight too. And I think that's that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something different. And about 4 months before that, my doctor tried to put me on statins. But I was a functioning obese person. I didn't have diabetes. I didn't have high blood pressure. I didn't have any of the issues that came along with being obese. So when he told me my cholesterol needed to be at 100 and I was at 170, I'm like, oh, that's not that bad. But he tried to give me statins. And I went on YouTube, watched a ton of videos about why they don't prescribe statins. Well, then I heard about keto on there, and I switched from like seed oils down to like avocado oils, and my cholesterol dropped within a month like 40 points down to like 130, but he still tried to put me on statins. And after having read them, I said no. So I was like, you know what? If I'm going to start a diet, now fast forwarding back to June, or it was really the last of May, I was like, you know what? I need to do something. I want to do something different. I was tired of counting points. I was tired of counting calories. I needed something different. And so I switched everything over to keto, but I started with 20 net carbs. And just like the first week, I lost 12 pounds. The next week, I lost 3 pounds. And it just kept falling off, and it was more motivating. Well, after about 20 or 30 pounds, I discovered they said, no, you should count 20 total carbs. So I went to 20 total carbs, and the weight even came off faster. I didn't even exercise. I may have done like a 30-minute walk here or there, but it just kept falling off. And then eventually, after about 4 months, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try zero carbs. Because some days I would fall into that. I would eat low carb breakfast, eggs and bacon. And then for dinner, I'd eat like burger patties or, tacos on lettuce leaves. And I was like, hey, I didn't hardly eat any carbs today. And I found all these videos about what's called carnivore. And I was like, and it's zero net carbs. And I was told by Ken Berry, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. I was like, why? Why would I want to do that? I like my vegetables. I love my green beans, my Brussels sprouts, and all those things. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. And so I did it. I did beef, butter, bacon, and eggs for 8 months after that. And the weight just continued to fall off. And now I'm down 125 pounds. I'm down to 198. And it only took exactly 1 year to get to that weight. And it was just, it just kept falling off. And, and then the motivation, the comments, and, that people would give me at work, oh, you look great. What are you doing? And it just motivated you to do it even more. But when I cook breakfast in the morning, I always listen to keto and carnivore podcasts or videos because it keeps me motivated to keep going. But I remember the first time the first couple of days, maybe like 3 days, I went down to zero carbs total. And I remember just getting out of bed and I was like, hey, I'm not stiff getting out of bed. I'm 37. So I was like, I shouldn't be feeling all that just yet. So I remember just rocking out of bed. I was like, what is this? I'm like, I'm not hurting. Nothing hurts. I'm not tired. I would rock out of bed and I just had so much energy. So it's like, I don't want to go back to the original, way I was eating. And when I was on keto, of course, I had my keto treats and my keto ice cream, and I didn't eat just that, but it was good coming off of a standard American diet. And then so um, when you're coming off of that, I had keto pretzels. They had those, and those were an addiction. I thought, well, if I go to carnivore, I have to give all of that up. So how am I going to give all that up? But once I went to carnivore and it got my ketone levels up into the 2s and 3s, I was measuring those with a keto mojo. I was like, I don't even crave those things. I thought I was going to miss the keto pasta and the keto Alfredo and, the miracle noodles, but I actually don't even miss them at all because I like the way I feel more than those items as well.
Right. And I think there's also something with like a greater level of satiety that just
Mhm.
helps you kind of power through the day, right?
Mhm. I wasn't getting hungry all day long. I wasn't planning what I'm going to eat after school. We have this program at school where we tutor kids until 4:30, and my friend, she shows her love to us through food. So she would load up on Costco snacks for the kids, but that's where I dipped into it, and I gained 40 pounds in one year off the snacks, which is not her fault, but it was my lack of self control because my blood sugar was all over the place. So now that I eat just bacon and eggs, I don't think about food all day long. I don't get hungry in the middle of the day. I can go breakfast, come hours later, and then eat at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and be completely satiated. I don't get that like, oh, I want something to eat. Because I see a lot of people around me, they're like, I'm starving. I'm like, I don't get to that point anymore.
Yeah. And, once you've been on carnivore for a while, that kind of attitude of "I'm starving" kind of it can make you laugh because you can see someone stuff 3 cupcakes in their mouth or something and then still be saying, "I'm starving," and it's like, well, the
Hmm.
trick is you've gotta learn that what you just ate is not food.
Hmm. And once I learned the role of insulin and why I felt like that, that's when I realized this is the secret to weight loss was to keep your insulin low. And one of the initial reasons why I chose keto and then carnivore was because I'm like, hey, I don't have to work out. It's just going to eat my fat reserves and I was like, that was awesome.
Um, so you're at 198 now. Oh, sorry, how tall are you?
I'm 5'11".
5'11". So, at 198, are you happy here, or do you have a goal to get down lower?
Well, everyone keeps telling me, they're like, no, you shouldn't. I'll show you a picture of what I look like when I'm like standing up, but this is what I look like when I'm standing up. So it's like I don't really. Everyone keeps telling me there's like not much more I can lose. So and I can see why. And I think I don't have a lot of loose skin anywhere, just around my midsection a little bit. But I know they tell me I'm supposed to be like in the 170s, but it's just I've been kind of stuck here for the last few months. But being at 198, everyone tells me you're too skinny, you're too skinny, and I can see why they'd say that. But I went from a 54 pants down to a 36, and I went from a 3XL
Wow,
shirt down to this is a large. So
that's fantastic.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think also society has kind of reframed things so much that like people are saying to you now, you're too skinny, right?
Mm,
The same as they would say to me and other people that are on carnivore, and it's like, well, we're kind of the right size for our height now.
mhm,
It's just that we look too skinny because everyone else is too much the other way.
mhm. And I know I'm sure if I got rid of like the because I have a little bit of extra skin around my stomach area, I'm sure if that was gone, I'd probably be low 190s or upper 180s. But I'm pretty much happy where I'm at now because I'm also like lifting so I could put on some muscle a little bit. So, but I mean, I'm in a large shirt, which is, I think, fine for my height and weight.
So one thing that I'm really interested in is how has your focus or concentration been since you've been on keto, then transitioning to carnivore? Is that kind of improved that as you've moved along?
Oh yes, and I can say now I don't get headaches. I used to get like a headache every couple of weeks. I have to pop 4 Excedrin because I was so big. But now it's like I don't get headaches anymore. Because I don't have all that inflammation going on inside my body. But my mental focus, I mean, I can do anything now. It's like I wake up, I'm not tired. My kids know first period I'm ready to go, even though they're not. Probably because they ate some high carb breakfast if they ate it all. And the foods that we give out at school sometimes, like muffins and things like that and cereal. So they don't understand that yet. So, but my mental focus is just like spot on. Like I don't have all that brain fog. I don't have that, what was I thinking about? It's just, I mean, I'm like more alert of everything. I can hear everything that goes on around me. I can hear all the little chatter here and there. And I'm always looking around to see what that sound was because my mind is just, I can do all those things now.
Right. So when you think about that, and then you do look at the kids, and you think, well, they've all probably, if they've eaten at all, they've probably had like cereal or something like that for Pop Tarts, something like that for breakfast. Um, it it kind of well, how does it make you feel?
I mean, I went through the same thing, so I pretty much like their kids. And believe it or not, I like the kids this generation look a lot less. I know they say like the obesity rate is high, but when I look around my classroom, I don't see a lot of obese kids, even though they're always eating Doritos or some kind of chips or processed food they're sharing, but they also share with each other. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but our schools also only have diet drinks in the machine and things like that. So it's curbed a lot of the calories. But for the most part, I just see like really thin kids, but they can be thin and also be unhealthy because they always pass around Pop Tarts. They always have cookies. They sell chocolate in school. We have some teachers that sell snacks. And I remember last year we had it was 2 years ago. I bought 20 boxes of Girl Scout cookies from a girl in my class, and I ate most of them. I can say that.
So when you were eating before, was that I've got a very addictive personality, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why I do really well on carnivore because I just everything's gone. So if I don't eat it, I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
Same as if I don't smoke any cigarettes, I'm not a smoker. But as soon as I have one, that's it. Um, but I'm interested, like before, was your diet like with these Girl Scout cookies? Would you buy them and just kind of you'd be eating cookie after cookie?
One after the other.
Mm.
And I do have an addictive personality too. Like, even though I did keto and carnivore, there's one thing that people that know me know I cannot give up, and it's Diet Pepsi. That's a staple in my life. But for the most part, I mean, I would go to Walmart, and before I even reached the end of the aisle, I would have already eaten an entire row of Oreos. Like, I would finish them before I even go to the store. I would go to the Dollar Tree and eat an entire 2 bags of Cheetos before I even left. I paid for them, of course, but I would eat an entire bag before I even left the store because I can't just have one. I go to. I'm not an alcoholic, but I go with a family member who is, and just hearing their stories, I have the same addictive personality for food. I can't just have one or two. Like, who's going to eat 2 Oreos? Like, if I eat a pint of Ben and Jerry's, I'm eat the whole thing. There is no just I can't moderate addiction. I can't count calories because I end up going over. So like on Weight Watchers, you're given these extra points that you can eat on top of your daily points every day. And I would find myself on day one of the week eating all of them on top of the first one. And then I would blow the rest of the week. And I'll say, well, I'll just start again on Sunday or Saturday. And you can't do that because I can't moderate that. So when I went on carnivore, all those cravings subsided. I don't have, oh, I want Oreos. Oh, I want this. Oh, I want that. I didn't think about, oh, I'm going to stop by McDonald's on the way home. M&M McFlurry. It was, now I'm like, oh, you know what I want for dinner tonight? I just had it about an hour ago. I made a ground beef and I seasoned it up with some taco seasoning and I ate it, but just like that. And that to me will satiate me all the way until the next morning versus wanting a snack in an hour and popcorn before dinner and, Halloween candy early or anything like that. But you know, I don't crave those things. And um, I used to eat things like, the sugar free gummy bears. I still have those every once in a while, but I don't feel like I need them like I needed when I was eating sugar. And that to me is a big win, because I know that I'm not going to follow the same path as many of my family members who were just falling apart in old age because they just never took care of themselves. And since I didn't have diabetes, I didn't have high blood pressure, I didn't have all these obesity associated, diseases, I thought I want to do something now before it becomes an issue in the future, because I don't want, because once I saw the statins, I was like, no, if my cholesterol can drop by doing this, why can't I keep going? Because now I take my blood pressure, it'll be something like 114 over 70, or something real, and I'm like, I didn't get that just counting calories, because effectively a lot of those point counting programs are just calorie counting, and I found it just did not work. So now the mental clarity, the healthiness, I don't feel myself craving junk food all day. I don't go to the store and go, oh my God, I just want one Oreo, just one Oreo. I don't feel that anymore, because I'm satiated all day long and my blood sugar is normal. So I don't go to the store and go, oh my God, I just want one. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I feel like, you're describing my previous life when you're like that, "Oh, I just want one," but then one is never enough, you know?
One is too many and 10 is not enough, as
Yeah.
they say.
Mm. So day to day, what is your eating like now? Is it 2 meals a day?
I eat 2 meals a day. I try not to eat at school because I can't obviously make a lot of good meals at school, and I don't meal prep because things dry out over days. So every morning I get up around 5, and I have about 5 eggs, 5 strips of bacon, cooked in butter, things like that, and then sometimes I'll have sausage. And then like for dinner, if I mean, I like to eat the same thing every day. It takes the guesswork out of it, and believe it or not, carnivore can be cheap if you do it right. So I would go to Costco and get one of those big grass-fed beef patties, and I would just cook them in the oven or on the stove, and sometimes I would put mustard on it. Sometimes I would just season it with salt, and then that's what I would eat, and I didn't complain. I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. If I like sometimes like take beef stew cubes and like salt and pepper them up and just cook them and eat them. I'm very easy to eat like that. But keto is more expensive because you're having to put all these meals together, and it's more complicated because you have to fit. Oh well, what can I eat now that fits within my protein but stays within my fat but stays under my calories? It was just a lot harder. Now I don't have to worry about that. So, but every day it's always something like hamburgers or hamburger meat, or I love shrimp. I blacken shrimp up just by itself. I eat salmon, and then I love chicken wings, and I sometimes will air fry them. And yeah,
Oh, nice. So when you're at school, does anyone ever say to you, "How come I never see you eating? What's going on?"
no, I pretty much stayed just me and my friend at school. So, but I mean, we don't really have a lot of extra time to like move around because we get one planning period every other day. And then, so when I'm planning, I'm usually with my one friend, but she knows exactly what I've done. But I do like when people ask you, like, what have you been doing? What worked for you? Tell me exactly what you ate. And I just point to them. I show them, like, I've learned from Dr. Boz online, Dr. Eric Westman, Thomas DeLauer, and my favorite was I love getting different recipes when I was on keto. So I loved low carb love. I loved watching her stuff. So I was like keto pumpkin pie, but it gets complicated, trying to fit everything in, because it's not just unlimited protein on keto, it's a moderate protein. So I was like, carnivore was more freeing because I'm no longer like, what do I have to piece together? What do I have to fit into this macro? Oh, I'm over on my protein, but I have so much fat I still need to hit. So I'm going to just eat a stick of butter. I can't do it. Some people can, but that's not me. But yeah, at school, no one really asks me, why are you not eating? But I had one person told me because I was getting so thin, she thought that I was anorexic. I was like, no, I love to eat. There is no starvation there. But I will fast every once in a while for 36 hours just to, get that stressor going, because sometimes you hit that plateau level.
Yeah. It's interesting, this is what makes me think that this is the appropriate way we should be eating, is that you can eat as much as you want to feel full, and you can not worry about putting on weight and
Mhm.
that kind of thing, and effectively lose weight or get down to the weight you're meant to be at.
Mhm.
Um, it just that kind of makes sense because I can't imagine that we are the only species on the planet that that came to be that needs to count things and measure things. It just doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And I mean, I still try to keep within a calorie range, but I don't like track the protein. I try to make sure I'm getting enough fat. But I always felt like because of my addictive personality in the past, I feel like if I don't count, I'm gonna overeat. And I know like on a carnivore diet, you can still overeat, and some people have gained weight eating too much. So I still kind of regulate. Eat around 1,900 calories a day, but I know you don't have to count. But for me, knowing that I don't want to go anywhere near where I used to be, I'm definitely going to try to stick to an amount that I eat.
Yeah. So no one around you has been inspired to give it a try?
Not that I'm aware of. I think a lot of people like the idea of it, but then they realize it is complicated. But I haven't seen anyone get inspired by it, even though they tell you you're inspiring. But then when you see them, they really haven't, lost any weight or, and I wish that's why I wanted to do this was because I did wanted to inspire some people that eventually might want to try it because I've heard so many healing stories of people, reversing type 2 diabetes and inflammation. And I've even heard some stories where people had like beginning signs of Parkinson's that may have been, reversed and things like that. And if my story can help someone else, then I hope it can.
Hmm. I think one of the things with when people around you see how well you're doing, and then you tell them, "Well, I'm just eating meat and eggs." One of the things that's hard for people to get their head around is, "But I can't imagine my life without
Mm-hmm.
this type of food. I can't imagine my life without food being entertainment."
Mm-hmm.
But what they don't realize is once you've done carnivore for long enough, and it can be different for different people, it can be like a week for some people, a month for others. You get to a point where you no longer see food as entertainment, and it's more
Mm-hmm.
of a functional thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because I know before I even go out to eat with people, I always look at the menu and I piece together what I'm going to eat. It's never going to be I'm just going to show up because that's when bad choices are made. But I don't get those cravings that I used to. Like I was at we had our homecoming dance this past weekend, and when I got there, they had Diet Pepsi, which that made my night. But there was cake. I didn't even crave it. I didn't even touch it. But before it would have been like, oh, just a bite, and the next thing you know, you've eaten the whole thing. My I was at my cousin's house one day and she had brought one of those tres leches cakes from our local Publix, and I was like, I'm just gonna have a bite. This was like over a year and a half ago. Ate the whole thing. Like there, but see, I don't feel that urge anymore because I'm satiated all day long. So when I was at that dance, they actually had chicken and beef and things. And I just ate that, and and it works because I actually find myself even craving it. I'm like, oh, I want some beef stew cubes for dinner, or I want a steak for dinner.
Yeah, for me, like I typically only eat in earlier in the day, and when I'm cooking that meal, I quite enjoy getting. It's the same every day, but I quite enjoy doing it. It's a bit of
Mhm.
ceremony, you know.
Mhm. I'm all about less is best. I don't like these like when I used to see those recipes online and they had like 15 items I don't even have. See, I just like to be I like knowing I'm just gonna go home and put my two burger patties in the oven and be done with it.
Yeah, agreed. Um, so if someone came to you and said, "Okay, Chris, I want to try this. I'm going to give it 90 days. Tell me what to do to stick with it." What would you advise them, or what tips would you give them?
Well, one of my biggest tips that I love and I still stick to today and I tell people about is if you don't like what you're doing, you will not stick to it. If you're going to eat salad all the time and you're miserable, you are not going to stick to it. Find things that you like that fit within that style. So I like bacon and eggs. It fits with me. What do you like for breakfast that's meat based? Or what can you see yourself and maybe even your family eating? Or what sticks within your budget? Because when I go to Costco, that big old thing of patties that lasts me 2 weeks is only, I think, $29. So like it makes it cheaper. So what fits within your budget and what do you like? If you don't like chicken, then don't eat it. Find something that you like and then find variations of it. So you have different books, carnivore books with recipes in it. Try something out of that because you might get bored the first few days. But for me, the first 3 days, after 3 days, I'm good. The first 3 days are probably going to be tough. But like I can say, to stay motivated, watch any videos you can and watch the success stories, and it will motivate you. And I typically do that while I'm cooking in the morning because I'm like, wow, I never heard that before. And then, oh, there's this new carnivore recipe I want to try. But find things that you like and stick to it.
That's really, really good advice. And yeah, there's about that, like you said, there's about 3 days where you kind of, it's going to be a little bit difficult for you, but the self control that comes in waves after that is pretty strong, right?
Mm-hmm. And I know, like, as your body's burning, if you're coming off of a standard American diet, then those first few days, it's going to be, your body burning through your glycogen store. So you might have those cravings still, but after they're gone, and then you see that weight loss by the end of the week, it might motivate you. Because, like I said, I went on keto in the first 2 weeks. I lost exactly 11.8 pounds. So within 2 weeks, I had lost 15. So you start to see those things start to work, but then you start to feel better. I remember I didn't feel as puffy. I didn't feel, I would reach under here. I'm like, what is this? Like, cause I was eating junk food. And then the next few weeks, it just kept falling off and the motivation builds but you're going to feel better because I remember just rocking myself out of bed and I'm like, what is this? What is this newfound like energy? I've never had this before. Cause I used to just stand and my back would hurt, everything would hurt and I would walk slow because, you just got up. And now I feel like I'm like 15 getting out of bed, and I'm 37 now. So that was a while ago. But, just being able to not hurt. And I heard it said the other day, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but they say 40 only, everyone tells you when you're 40, everything starts to fall apart. But someone said 40 only feels old to those who didn't take care of themselves. Because if I feel like this now in 2 years, I don't foresee myself feeling much different, but I haven't been there yet. So I don't know. But if I don't have all that inflammation, I don't have to worry about as many of those diseases that come along with being obese. And the whole adage of nothing tastes good as being thin feels is true. Because because my friends know me, I'm like, I'm not eating that, I'm going to gain weight, so, but I don't crave it. So all that just, it all comes together eventually. So if they can stick it out for at least 30 days to 90 days, then they'll probably see the benefits in a lot of their, like diabetes get reversed, things like that. So.
Nice. So this is it for you? You think you can stick with this forever?
I mean, I do have some days where I do go out and enjoy myself. So last weekend I love sugar-free Reese's. I had those. But for the most of the week, I do just meat only. And then I try to get like maybe one day at the end of the month, try to eat something different. Like I think my end of the month one is I want to have like I have like a keto pizza in there. So I try to keep it, if I do eat something else, stick within a low carb range versus just going ham. But I did say, because I applied to nursing school, and if I get in, I told themselves I'll probably eat my way through crumble cookie, which I'm probably not going to. But I mean, I will have something because they have like keto cookies, things like that. I can do something like that. But for the most part, it's meat only. But now that I'm at the weight I want to be at, then, I can have something every once in a while, but it can't become a habit because I've noticed that when I have tried to transition back to a keto diet, I was like, okay, I hit my weight loss goal. Let me try this. Cravings start to come back. Junk food cravings keep coming back. I'm like, so even though I would eat like those sugar-free Reese's, it's harder to go back the next day and just do the carnivore. So it takes me a 2-day adjustment period, believe it or not. So it's like, I don't think I'm going to be doing that for a while. But no, I like the meat only because it's just easy to do because I don't like to cook. So I like just easy meals. So I don't want something with 17 ingredients. So just if I can just throw some hamburger on the stove and call it a night, I'm good. I know that sounds restrictive to people, but it's not as restrictive as being bound to a hospital or bound to a doctor's appointments or bound to anything else, that's keeping you like people might think carnivore is expensive, but it's not as expensive as having to get your insulin injections and your doctor's appointments and everything else. And I've never had those, thank goodness, because I was like, you know what, let's do something now before it's a problem.
Right. Yeah. Very well said. So Chris, if people want to reach out to you, is there any way they can get in contact? Do you have any social media?
I don't because kids are crafty and they'll go through all your stuff. But if you, I mean, I can give them my email if you want me to give it here.
Sure, I can include your email in the show notes if that's
Okay.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, awesome. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story, Chris. I really appreciate your time.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.